from last year. High-scoring, tight affair. And Patrick, I'm expecting the exact same thing this time around. Excited. Can't wait for this one.
It was high-scoring a season ago. GCMS with a 38-32 win over Maroa-Forsyth. Well, the Trojans will try to get back on the other side of things this year and take a state title, but we'll send it upstairs to the men in our booth to call today's game, Lee Hall and Jack McInerney.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Well, today, of course, Black Friday. A lot of folks already doing their Christmas shopping. And how many times, Jack, do you get the same thing year after year and you want to take it back? Well, we don't want to take this back. Second straight year, we've got GCMS and Maroa-Forsyth. It should be a great game like we had the year ago.
There's no doubt about it, and ironically, there's so much similarity between these two teams as far as what they did. But last year was a close ball game. Statistics were very close, and I expect this game will be the same thing.
Maroa had an 11-point lead in the second half of that ball game. Back at quarterback for them, their key player, Ian Benner.
He's just an outstanding athlete. He does so much for him, and he's a critical part of the offense. There's no doubt about it. They run the spread formation. Everything goes through him, and he actually makes audible calls at the line of scrimmage. He has great poise and leadership, and the coach has a lot of confidence in his ability, not only his IQ for football, but his athletic ability.
For GCMS, the defending state champs, Mitch McNutt is gone. Their main man in the backfield this year is Jerry Trantina.
Well, you know, last year he actually had over 100 yards in the championship game and 11 tackles. So that kind of tells you how good he really is. And, of course, he's the go-to guy with the running game this year, an outstanding high school football player.
It was a great ball game that went down to the final minutes a year ago. We're hoping for another exciting championship ball game, the rematch between GCMS and Maroa-Forsyth. Coming up next on NBC Sports Chicago.
Big turnout in blue and gold for the Trojan fans, champs of the Sangamo Conference, and here into the state championship game with a 13-0 record, taking on a 13-0 GCMS team. Tim, both these teams played in pretty sloppy conditions in the semifinals and some sloppy games as a result. What do we expect here in the second championship game today?
I'm expecting polar opposite. There is no mud, so we're all good. That's
Artificial
all covered.
surface.
Should be nice, smooth surface. And again, I mean, my key in this ball game, certainly for Gibson City, play your game, play physical, set the tone yourself physically. And again, for Maroa, you have to look at big plays. That's what you do. You have to be able to answer every punch from Gibson City with a punch of your own. Match them punch for punch, big play for big play. Those are my keys.
EPC defeated by GCMS last week. St. Teresa losing to Maroa-Forsyth. And we have our teams here today. 1 and the 2 seeds, 13-0. And we are back with the Class 2A championship game from Champaign next.
Sorry.
And welcome back to Memorial Stadium on the campus of the University of Illinois. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney just about ready to kick things off here in the state championship game in Class 2A. It's the second-ranked GCMS, the defending state champs, against top-ranked Maroa-Forsyth, who lost a heartbreaker here last year to the Falcons. Maroa-Forsyth won the toss. They deferred to the second half. So it will be the Falcons at 13-0 to start things off here offensively. Lance Livingston deep for the Falcons, wearing all white today. Maroa in their blue and gold. Zach Frazier kicks it off and kicks it out of bounds, so GCMS will start at the 35. GCMS 13-0, Maroa-Forsyth 13-0. Matching undefeated seasons coming off last year's state title game, and there's Nathan Gerard, the returning quarterback, the senior, throwing for over 1,100 yards, 13 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions.
Illegal procedure.
He's at a 60% completion rate for the season.
Team. 20 yards from the previous spot. First down.
27 straight wins. Gerard has started all 27. He's 27-0 as the starting quarterback. They start from their own 35. And off up the middle to Trantina.
Good first down play, 5-yard pickup. And that's exactly how you'd like to start off the state championship game.
Gerard, that was actually Peyton Keene on the carry there. Trantina, tailback. Jones, Holt, Barnes. Some of the receivers that you'll see for GCMS. Barnes made that catch in the final minute a year ago to push GCMS over the top. Here's the pitch to Trantina. No gain on the play. Here's a look at the Trojans defense as Hayden Mitchell comes up with the stop for the men in blue. Soa, Olmeyer, Klein, Poland up front. The linebackers, Wilbur, Hetz, Livengood, and the defensive backfield, Martin Marsh, Mitchell, and Noah Holtis at cornerback. Cousin of our friend, John Holtis, out of Assumption, Illinois.
Well, you know, of the two defenses of both teams, Maroa has been the more generous. They've given up almost 330 yards of total offense per game and 10 points. So can Gibson City take advantage of that? We'll find out.
Third down give is to Trantina. Nothing in the first hole, nothing there either, as the Trojans put up a brick wall. They come up with the ball, but the whistle came first, and it'll be fourth down for GCMS.
Well, the penetration, you can see the top of your screen right here. The guard and tackle pull for the counter, but the penetration by the defensive line shoved those guard and tackle back into the backfield, so there was no flow and no hole to run to, and a good stop early. And this win, Lee, has certainly picked up from since our first ball game, and could be a factor in this game.
Ben Freehill to punt. Straight up and a fair catch called for at the 23-yard line by Drew Hicks.
38-yard punt right there. And, of course, the key to Maroa's offense is a quarterback. And he's just a very versatile athlete, and he contributes about 212 yards of total offense, both running and throwing the football. He's an all-state football player. He's accounted for 31 touchdowns, both throwing the ball and catching the ball, or excuse me, running the football. So that's a lot of offense kind of coming out of your quarterback, which is expected out of the spread formation.
Ian Benner, just a junior. He started at quarterback a year ago. This is his third straight state championship game. He was a defensive back as a freshman as Gavin Clifton bounces the football and gets out of bounds after a pickup of about 5. Take a look at the GCMS, or check that the Maroa-Forsyth starting lineup. Benner, Clifton behind him. Davenport, Hicks, Holtis at wide receiver. Caden Morris, the sophomore tight end, is a guy we'll keep an eye on today. Campbell, Klein, and Olmeyer up front with Corley and Hetz. 2nd and 5 now for Maroa. Benner looks right, fakes, throws it to Morris. Open, caught at the 45, and the sophomore tight end takes it down to the 23-yard line. Big pickup. Benner to Caden Morris, 50 yards on the pitch and catch.
What really excellent play execution right there by Ian Benner. He's the one that really, by looking away, he faked the throw to one side, he faked the screen, and it comes back to the slot man, which is actually his tight end, Caden Morris. And he's an outstanding player. He's 6'1", 190 pounds. He's the leading receiver with 60 catches. And you can see right there that he's quite a threat downfield.
11 yards a catch on the season. Here's the give to Clifton. There's a lot of east and west. Now he goes north and south, gets inside the 10, where he's finally wrestled down by Jared Trantina. Pickup of 14 for Clifton, who's over 1,000 yards on the season. And there's a look at the starters on defense for GCMS, allowing just 4.3 points per game. Barnes, Allen, and Workman up front. Trantina, Kudemeyer, Spiller, Keene at linebacker, Livingston, Short, Gerard, and Harden in the backfield. 1st and goal. Little shovel pass there to Morris, picks up a couple. Jared Joseph says, my job is to get the ball in his hands, and that's number 84, Caden Morris.
Well, the Falcons of Gibson City have not allowed any points in the first quarter this year, so right now that record could be broken because Maroa is certainly threatening.
The Trojans average 46 points a game. Off to a good start here. Benner. The give almost picked off. It was through the hands of the intended receiver, Max Davenport. Gerard was there, but falls harmlessly to the ground. And it'll be 3rd down now for Maroa.
Maroa's got a good-sized offensive lineup there. They average about 237 pounds, which for high school is pretty good size, and they're quite mobile.
3rd and 7. 3rd and goal from the 7. Benner rolls right, pitches to Clifton for the last moment. He's tripped up there, lane short with the open field tackle to force 4th down.
That was a great play by the safety. He came up and filled a lane, and that was his responsibility. Whenever you have an option, which this is, somebody's responsible for the quarterback, which he took, and the safety came up. He's responsible for the pitch man. If there's any breakdown in execution against the option, it's going to result in a long gain or a touchdown. There was not right there. Well done defensively.
4th and goal. Benner throwing into the end zone to Hicks. Touchdown, Trojans!
What a great job right there by Ian Benner. Just a little roll to get the secondary to kind of roll with him, and then he had the throwback. That was just a great concentration catch by Drew Hicks from Benner. You can see the roll and then the throwback. Coverage wasn't that bad, but just really a nice throw and catch. And that breaks the streak right there of that scoreless first quarter.
Riley Fitzpatrick, 78 of 80 on extra points. Make it 79 of 81 for Riley Fitzpatrick, the senior. As you get a look at Benner after the touchdown pass to Drew Hicks in a 7-0 Maroa lead. Ian Benner checking out his Twitter feed maybe. Now he's looking at the play. He probably likes the looks of what he saw after that drive. 8 plays, 78 yards, 223, and a touchdown strike to Drew Hicks.
Well executed, and that was certainly a good play right there. And
you're going to look at Maroa-Forsyth, just north of Decatur, out of the Sangamo Conference. We have seen them all too often. I always kid Josh Jostis that it's the Josh Jostis Invitational. They are here so much.
Well, I thought he had a condo down here somewhere.
Short takes the kickoff, but he's dropped after a pickup of just a couple. Hayden Mitchell on the tackle for Maroa.
A 7-yard return on that. That first play by Maroa, that first series rather, possession was 8 plays for 78 yards. Took a short 2 minutes and 23 seconds to score on a team that had never been scored on this season in 13 games in the first quarter. Well, that's all over.
Only allowing 4.3 points per game defensively. Now GCMS tries to get things rolling offensively as they had to punt it away, and Maroa took it into the end zone. Gerard on the rollout.
Nice catch.
Out to the 38-yard line where it's complete to Ryland Holt, the 6'4", 200-pound senior. 454 yards receiving on the season. That's a pickup of 11.
That ball was actually released before, just as he made his cut. Nice timing, but he goes up and catches it at the highest point. Excellent throw and catch right there. Nice big first down move for Gibson City.
1st and 10 at the 38. Trantina in motion. The give is to Peyton Keene. Picks up 3 there. There's the mix offensively for GCMS. Ryland Holt, Bryce Barnes, both a couple of basketball players who played as freshmen, didn't come out as sophomores, and then back out there as juniors a year ago. A big part of this GCMS offense. Combined are over 800 yards receiving this year. 2nd and 7. Gerard going deep.
Oh, my!
By Bryce Barnes.
Wow, what a catch. What a catch.
Right on cue, Bryce Barnes, a catch of 34 yards. He's the guy that caught the go-ahead touchdown with 1:08 to go last year to win it for GCMS. Big catch here.
Wow, look at over the shoulder, then he reverses going right in. You talk about concentration. That's an amazing throw and catch, and it's a perfect throw as far as away from the defender, but the concentration for him to make that catch, that Willie Mays catch over the shoulder, what a great job right there.
1st and 10 from the 25. Give is to Trantina, the All-State senior. Played fullback a year ago behind Mitch McNutt. He has been the main cog offensively, rushing for over 1,500 yards coming into this ball game.
Well, last year he played fullback, and McNutt, of course, was a tailback.
Right.
And he did everything in that state championship game, led the team in rushing and tackles. But now Keene is the fullback, and they moved Trentino over to tailback, and a short next year probably Keene would be the tailback.
2nd and 7. The fake and the give to Aiden Woffrey. Woffrey just a freshman. No gain there. Now you talk about last year's game in Trantina. Mike Allen saying earlier this week he thought if it wasn't for Mitch McNutt's huge game that Trantina could have been the MVP with 130 yards rushing, and he led the team in tackles, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, playing a two-way player in a state championship game and have that kind of production, over 110 yards of rushing and 11 tackles, and he never came out of the ball game. And just a great job. And of course this year he came back and he's back with a vengeance.
3rd and 7 now for the Falcons. And a whistle. And GCMS wants a timeout.
Gibson City.
Maroa-Forsyth out to the early 7-0 lead. The defending state champs trying to answer here. I had to read it in volleyball. It was longer than this. In a hurry but want a fresh, affordable meal to serve your family or friends, Biaggi's Pronto Packs make it easy to enjoy an authentic Italian meal at home or on the go. Perfect for small groups and starting at just $30. The Pronto Pack comes with pasta, 2 pizzas, a salad, and bread with Biaggi's delicious butter for dipping. More on that in a moment. Gerard going to the end zone. Intended for Holt, and there's a flag on the play. It'll be pass interference against Maroa.
Well, they tried to go back to basically that same route, a little corner route, and he got a little push. The ball was somewhat overthrown, but he did give him a push. Whether or not he would have been able to catch it or not is a different issue.
Here's our officials today.
Pass interference. Number 23. Defense. Half the distance to the goal, resulting in first play. First down.
Again, the unsung heroes of high school football right there.
Yep.
If it weren't for them, we'd have no game.
And there's a shortage of officials in all sports, so the IHSA likes to remind folks that if you love sports and want to give back, there's your opportunity right there. First and 10 from the 11-yard line. GCMS trying to take advantage of that penalty and get the ball into the end zone here and tie this game. Give us to Trantina. And he's tripped up. Getting through the lines, Johnny Luttrell from Maroa-Forsyth, sophomore lineman, getting in there and tripping him up and holding to gain a couple of yards there.
Good effort right there by the defense of Maroa, and that's probably one of the keys. Now, Gibson City took wide splits there, and that allowed the penetration right there by the defensive lineman, and that does also help the linebackers fill a little quicker. And they did a good job right there. Now we'll see here if they cut the splits down a little bit, which they did.
2nd and 7 now. And the give is to Joe Allen, 5'10" senior, number 58, with the pickup of 7. A little different look from Mike Allen.
And he came in and he subbed in just prior to that particular play, and they're going to leave him in. And this looks like a Mike Ditka, the fridge type of offense right here. It's their goal line package. I hate to use the term their heavy package, but that's the term most teams use.
First and goal from the 1.
Yep.
Touchdown GCMS. Trantina with the carry.
Now this could be something that we're going to see with a back and forth offensive scoring. Last year, Maroa-Forsyth had 402 yards of total offense in the state championship game. Gibson City countered with 375 yards of total offense. That's a lot of offense in a championship game, and the looks of it right now, we might get more than that in this particular ball game.
8 plays, 73 yards, 3 minutes, 42 seconds. Ben Freehill on for the extra point. He's getting a lot of looks from D1 colleges. The hold of Cade Elliott. It's up. Freehill now 73 of 77 on point afters this season. And we are tied at 7. This could be a wild one here. Mike Allen likes the way his offense moved the ball down the field that trip to tie this ball game.
This is a good job by the running backs, but also a pretty good surge, as we mentioned, by the offensive line getting across the ball. Whenever you see the offensive line in the end zone, that means it was a good push. And we'll look at that now. Watch the white jerseys in the end zone. You can see the push. And, of course, you get that big 59 up behind him, who's Keegan Goodmeyer, 230 pounds, helping out with the push. You can see him shoving and pushing right there. I'd hate to be behind him in the buffet line. You wouldn't get much on your plate.
There's the Gibson City Melvin Sibley Band. GCMS, they've been road warriors the last 2 weeks. We did the math after trips to Sterling to play Newman Catholic and Eastland Pearl City last week in the semifinals. Just a half-hour bus trip to Champaign, just west down I-74 and a little bit north of there in Ford County. Chris Gerard, the principal, played for our old buddy Dale Patton, who's a GCMS Gibson City alum, and Mike Allen, the AD and head coach, doing double duty. 0-9, 1-8 his first 2 seasons, playing for a second straight state title here today. Free Hills kick into that breeze coming out of the south-southeast. Drew Hicks picks it up. Still on his feet across the 35 out to the 37-yard line. Big return of 16 for Drew Hicks. Good field position for the Maroa-Forsyth Trojans.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here to see how Maroa attacks again. And of course, anytime the ball is in the hands of Ian Benner, he has the opportunity to change plays at the line of scrimmage. It can be called going into the huddle, and he gets up there and sees something that he does not like. He has the opportunity to audible into another call, whether it be a run or a pass. And the coach has enough confidence in him to let him do that.
1st and 10 here now, 37-yard line. Benner out of the shotgun. Keeps it. Has room to run to the outside, gets outside of the numbers into GCMS territory, where he's finally knocked out at the 39-yard line, 24 yards, and a late flag, it would appear.
Good job running the option right here when you have a quarterback that's as athletic as Benner is, 6'1", 170-pound junior, and of course he's an experienced quarterback, having started last year. You know you're going to get a lot of offense out of him.
Like
after the play was over. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 7 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Here's the dual threat of Ian Benner.
Very confident quarterback. And he was looking back for that flag, and he got it.
Yeah, and you think, well, there wasn't a lot of contact there, but all that stuff over on the sidelines, you just can't be too careful, really. 1st and 10 from the 24 now. Maroa on the march. Benner keeps again. And what great running lanes he had to choose from there as he takes it down to the 13. Pickup of 11.
And that run was actually set up by the formation of running the trip to the wide side of the field. It pulled that extra linebacker up to make coverage on that on the inside receiver up there, and it gave him the opportunity to run up inside.
Ball now with the 13. Davenport is the man in motion. Give is to Clifton. He ducks his head. Not a lot of room to run there. Clifton over 1,000 yards this season as a junior. Keegan Kudemeyer in on the stop, number 59. And then you get a look at the breakdown of the numbers for Maroa-Forsyth.
Yeah, they've had a good year offensively. They run the ball about 35 times a game for 273 yards. They throw the ball about 17 times for 158 for a total of 431 yards off of 52 plays. That's pretty good offense.
Davenport, the receiver, with a carry. He's 367 yards receiving, 381 rushing, so he's a dual threat back there. Senior made a great catch last year in the 17 title game. End zone catch in the first half. 3rd and 5 now.
Changing the play.
Looking for Hicks at the goal line. He's in for the touchdown.
Excellent call. Kind of an interesting call as you look at it on the replay. He actually catches the ball about a step inside and then is forced outside. So initially it looks like he was not in the end zone, but an excellent call by the official right on the ball. And an even better throw by Benner. Delivers the football right there on the money, and you can see then he goes back out of the end zone, but the ball had crossed the plane. It's dead automatically right there. Touchdown no matter where he ended up.
Riley Fitzpatrick with the point after. We saw her kick here a year ago. You've probably seen her in those Country Financial ads on IHSA TV broadcasts, and she is a perfect 2 for 2. And there you get a good look at Drew Hicks with the touchdown catch for Maroa-Forsyth as they take a 14-7 lead here.
Yeah, it was a 5-play drive for 63 yards. Took them 1 minute and 45 seconds. So they're somewhat explosive when they get good field position. And part of it is having an outstanding quarterback like this who can deliver the football on the money to an outstanding route. And this is a perfect route. He's just one step inside the end zone, and that's a setup play. Good coverage, but the ball is delivered extremely well.
You've talked a couple of times about him changing the call at the line of scrimmage. How unusual is that for a high school quarterback to be able to do that?
Well, it's relatively unusual. In many cases, if you find a team that's running option a lot, it's not all that unusual because they'll change maybe the direction the option's going. But in his case here, he's changing the play completely from a run play to a pass play or vice versa. What that does is shows you the confidence the coach has in him and shows you what an outstanding IQ he has for football.
Josh Jostis telling us earlier this week, you know, we expect things from high school kids others don't. And that's a huge thing right there to have a quarterback who's only a junior who can audible at the line like that. Pretty impressive stuff. Zach Frazier kicks it away. Fielder there at the 19-yard line. That's Lance Livingston. Takes it out close to the 30. That's where GCMS will reload. Down a touchdown now. They survived a 14-7 win at Eastland Pearl City last week. Another one of those NUIC teams that we saw Forreston, of course, win the state championship in Class 1A. 2 touchdowns in that game negated by penalty, and they had 3 turnovers. So it was not GCMS's best game. Mike Allen says maybe it was our worst game of the year. They still came out with a win. On an unbelievable play from Gerard to Ryland Holt. Hopefully we'll get a chance to take a look at that a little bit later on. The Maroa defense drops Barnes for a loss.
That was a great defensive play right there. He fought off the blocker and still made the play. Now this year, Gibson City in the first half this year has outscored their opponents 421 points to 13. But yet today they're down 14-7. So what does that tell you? But excellent job right there defensively of fighting off the wide receiver on the bubble screen.
That was Lawfrey on the catch. Second down and long here for Gerard. Rolling right, pulls it back, throws it. Incomplete off the hands of Bryce Barnes, and GCMS lucky that there wasn't a blue jersey player there to pick that off.
That was a pretty good job. They ran the flood into the short side of the field. They rolled him or sprinted him into the short side, and they had 3 receivers from the hash mark to the sideline, but good defensive effort right there by Maroa in their adjustment and rotation into that.
Third down and 13 now, under a minute to go here in the first quarter. A rematch of last year's state championship game, and it's off to a great start here. Gerard rolling left. He's going to have to throw back against his body. He's got a man, but threw it behind Lawfrey. Lawfrey was wide open with first down yardage, but it was thrown behind him, and that'll be 4th down now for GCMS.
Well, that was really a tough throw on his part, a right-handed quarterback going to his left, but the other part of it was he got outside of his blocker. His blocker was kicking out the defensive end, and he outran him to the sideline rather than step up. And there would have been a running lane as well as a passing lane had he got up inside that blocker. That would have been a big first down play for them, but sometimes in the heat of the battle, you make the wrong choice.
Ben Freehill back for his second punt. He averages 33 yards, but he's into that 20-mile-an-hour breeze coming out of the south-southeast. And it's blocked. Zach Clifton got a hand on it. And Maroa is going to have awesome field position here at the GCMS 16, leading here 14-7 with a chance to make it a 2-touchdown lead. Special teams with a big play for the Trojans.
Outstanding effort, as you mentioned, Lee, by the special teams making that play. And I think part of that, what happens is the offense sometimes is too much in a hurry wanting to get down and make coverage. And you saw one blocker for 3 defenders rushing the punter, and now again Maroa's got great field position, and can they take advantage of it? This is the difference between championship teams and runners-up, taking advantage of a great field position on turnovers.
Zach Clifton blocked it. Wade Jostis, the son of head coach Josh Jostis, recovers, and it's Benner from the shotgun. Fakes left, a lot of pressure from the right side, and he's dropped for a huge loss.
And he's got to come out of the ball game now because he lost his helmet.
Hayden Workman in there on the sack. A loss of 15. Benner loses his helmet and comes off to the sideline.
Now that was kind of an interesting play because he bootlegs to the weak side. And you can see right there was nobody to block the weak side. They were outnumbered. And I think he might have made an audible call into the wrong edge of the field. Just a good effort defensively right there by Gibson City. And now he's got to come out of the ball game, so you got a new quarterback in the game.
Aiden Workman, Jared Trantino was coming in on the blitz, and
he's got a head of hair on him.
Benner had nowhere to go, yeah. He's going to have to readjust his headband there. We've got break now. We're 1 quarter in. Maroa-Forsyth with the 1 touchdown lead. Big special teams play, but then a big defensive play by GCMS. And they'll be at the 30-yard line when we come back. Driving again, leading by 7. He had to talk me into biscuits and gravy once upon a time. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney back with you. High atop Memorial Stadium. The Maroa-Forsyth fans know their way here by heart, don't they? We talked about Josh Jostis and joking with him. 8 state title game appearance for him in 13 years. In the last 13 years, he's in his 19th season as head coach. Here is the snap to Wade Jostis, his son, who's the backup quarterback. Picks up maybe a couple because Benner had to come out after losing his helmet. And he will return and face 3rd and 23. '15th straight playoff berth for Maroa-Forsyth. And to win their 3rd state championship. They were champs in 2A in 06, 1A back in 2012. Here's Benner to throw. It's complete to Hicks at the 22. He's dropped right there in the open field by Bryce Barnes.
It just seems as if for some reason that Gibson City knows the plays these last several. I mean, they're right on top of the play. Now that was just a quick throw outside, and what he did is he was off him initially, then he came up before the snap and made a real good play on that.
Correction, that was Lane Harden on the stop.
I think what Benner is doing is he's looking at those corners, and they initially, in some cases, they play tight, other times they play off, and that's throwing off his reads.
Going for it on 4th and 16 into the wind. Benner alone in the backfield. Here comes the rush, and he's going to be dropped again. And it'll go to GCMS as they turn it over on downs. The defense stepping up here after giving up 14 points in the first quarter. After not giving up any points in the first quarter all year.
I don't know if this was not initially supposed to be a quarterback draw, and he just waited a little too long, because once he got past that defensive front, he had a ton of room to go, because those linebackers dropped with deep coverage, and he would have had a first down. He'd be able to get past that defensive line, which he obviously did not.
That was Bryce Barnes, the first man in there. Now GCMS with the ball after the turnover on downs, and they'll try and even things up here. First down carry for Trantina. He picks up maybe a couple.
You know, both these teams, we talk about tough schedules, they really never had a test until the semifinals. Now, granted, Maroa had a tough one, I think, in Game 7. They won 21-20 against Athens. But before that and after that, they had no test until the semifinals, when they beat Decatur 16-14. And Gibson City was not tested at all until the semifinals when they beat Larinac 14-7. So, and they had 6 shutouts.
Trantina gets it, second man through. And he's very close to a first down.
Yep, I think they're giving it to him.
Yeah, GCMS rolled through it. And it's interesting to talk to Mike Allen this week and how he talks about his kids, you know, kind of fighting off the thought that maybe last year's win of the state championship game was a fluke.
Yeah, that was interesting. And how can it be a fluke when you play a team like the Trojans from Maroa, who have been here so often? That's no fluke. You know, it was a great ball game, and that's just press. I mean, that's just people talk, and he knew that, and the kid, I think, knew it also.
A lot of social media foolishness. Spoken as a grandpa. Peyton Keene for no gain.
That's a tough play for Gibson City against this good defense, not to get anything out of first down. Puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback, because he is not the same kind of quarterback as Benner is. He's not as versatile. He doesn't run as well nor throw the ball as well. He's a very effective, efficient quarterback, but he's not the same kind of athlete.
2nd and 9. Gerard will throw this one.
He must have
looking down the middle. It's complete to Ryland Holt. Over a 7-foot wingspan, and he got his hands around that one. A pickup of 33.
He must have overheard my conversation. A nice little play-action fake where he went one direction and Holt came back. And I think the corner bit on the play-action. Good isolation right here. You can see he gives a good move. Turns the corner around in the wrong direction. And a good delivery by the quarterback, putting the ball right on the money. Well-designed football play, and certainly well executed.
Ball at the 33. Trantina in motion. He'll get the hand off it outside. He's got one man to beat. Deeks, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 2-yard line. That was Justin Livengood saving the touchdown. A pickup of 31 for the All-Stater Jared Trantina.
What a nice job right there, with a good job by the right side of the offensive line. Watch the kickout blocks right there. Breaks the tackle, gets down the sideline. I think he should have tried to outrun him right there, cut back. In either case, they're down to the 2-yard line, and they need to certainly punch it in right here. Gives you an idea of the speed and power that he has. Very elusive in the open field, but a strong runner initially to break that tackle or two at the line of scrimmage.
1st and goal for GCMS. They give this to Allen. Wrapped up and then falls forward for a yard.
Real good penetration right there by the defensive front. They got underneath the pads of the offensive line of Gibson City, so there was no movement at the line of scrimmage.
The ball in the shadow of the goal line as GCMS looks to score and tie this ball game with the extra point. 2nd down now. They give to the All-Stater Trantina, and that's his 2nd touchdown run of the game. And an extra point will tie this ball game.
Kind of runs over the pile there, runs over the right side of the offensive line behind center Keegan Koopmeyer and the right guard Garrett Wright and the right tackle Hayden Workman. That was a 7-play drive for 77 yards, and they ate up 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Good effort there by the right side of the line, and even better effort by Gerard Trantina to get into the end zone there.
Touchdown number 33 on the season for the senior All-Stater Jared Trantina. Ben Freehill to kick the point after and tie this ball game. Man, does he kick it high. We are tied at 14. So the Falcons answer A big pass play sets up Jared Trantina from a yard out. And we are tied midway through the second quarter in our 2A state championship game here on NBC Sports Chicago.
Seconds.
And there is your Maroa-Forsyth Trojan.
That's how you used to look when you were working out.
That's right.
Both, not only the...
I wish my teeth were that straight. I would love that.
They'd have to use a whole roll of barbed wire to straighten those babies out.
A couple of great programs battling it out here. 14-14 our score. We had a wild offensive game a year ago between these two teams. This promises to be the same here this afternoon. We hope you're enjoying it from Champaign. And Freehill will kick it away for the Falcons. Drew Hicks from the 8-yard line. Not going to get very far because Aiden Laughley is there, the freshman, with the big special teams play to pin Maroa-Forsyth back at their own 11-yard line.
That was a nice effort by him, and he just flew down the sidelines right there. He was untouched. And in many cases, it's hard to get kids to want to really hustle on special teams, but when you get a freshman like that takes advantage of every play that he's on the field, it's really refreshing to see that.
He's been a pretty good receiver for GCMS this year as well. So now Maroa's lead is gone. They are tied, and now they've got 89 yards to go into the win.
First time they've been in the shadow of their own end zone.
Give is to Clifton. He gets the edge. Oh, coughs up the football. GCMS says they have it. And they do. Austin Spiller there to pick it up for the Falcons. And a costly turnover for the Trojans deep in their own territory.
What a costly turnover, and the field position is amazing right here. This is just an excellent tackle. You can see the corner coming up, and he just loses the ball, and they just do a good job right there of flying to the football and having bodies by the football. And that's how you're able to pick up fumbles. If you just have somebody there making a tackle and no other pursuit, you don't get that ball. But they had a lot of people there.
That was the freshman Laughley again, who made a tackle on the kickoff. Here's Cantina around the right side. Still on his feet.
What an
pushing
effort.
his way into the end zone. Now they'll say he's short. They're going to mark him out just short of the goal line.
What an
Now
outstanding
we're going to
effort.
talk about it.
If it's a touchdown, it's about a 13-yard touchdown.
During the run, face mask.
Oh.
Defense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
It is a touchdown.
13
there was no
yards.
signal on the field.
No. What a great effort right here. You can see right here how he keeps the balance. That's what's incredible. And then right here, the legs, about 4 tackles he breaks, and then there's just that surge to get in the corner of the end zone. What an outstanding effort by a player that's really given
Correction.
Gibson City.
That penalty will be enforced on the ensuing kickoff.
I don't like to interrupt an official, but that was just a great effort on his part. I mean, he 3 or 4 tackles he broke to get in the end zone, and he's done that production all year long for Gibson City, and that's just what a great effort to get in the end zone.
63 touchdowns in his career.
That's hard to believe. How do you score 63 touchdowns in a high school career?
Pretty amazing. Freehill the point after, and it's a 21-7 GCMS lead. 14 points off turnovers for the Trojans.
Well, this play was actually designed to go inside. He bounced it outside with a great effort, picked up a touchdown, and put them up on top.
action. Throws back to his left side. A lot of traffic out there. And still on his feet is Aaron Inda to the 20. He's going to take it all the way. Gerard under center. The pitch to McNutt. Looking for the edge. He's in for the score. Right. Looking into the end zone. It's a touchdown.
They were really just outstanding. Both teams were. This game was a back and forth game. Really exciting.
Watch the award ceremony in the right hand up here. Your friends there. An exciting 2A state championship game between GCMS and Maroa-Forsyth, and we expect that because that's what we saw a year ago. Ian Benner to Aaron Inda. He had a couple of touchdown catches. Maroa-Forsyth built an 11-point lead. They went up 26-15 at one point. Here's Mitch McNutt, who was a preferred walk-on here at Illinois before leaving the program in August, was the MVP for GCMS. And here's the game-winning touchdown, Gerard to Bryce Barnes. And that was the difference for GCMS as they won 38-32.
And ironically, both those players are back, and it's always great to have your stars back. Of course, both teams have 7 players on offense and 7 players on defense, so that balanced out of these returning starters. So they are a very experienced, both of them are very experienced football teams coming back.
And 2 really good defensive teams all year long, but we've seen a lot of points scored both seasons.
Well, there's no doubt about it. When you play against some good teams, it's really hard to keep them down. And of course, Gibson City has given up only 4 average in their 13 games prior to this, given up 4 points as average, and Maroa only 10. And those are against good football teams.
And we'll see if Maroa-Forsyth can answer here. They start this time at their own 20. Costly turnover, and GCMS took advantage to go up here 21-14. Benner to Davenport, and he's brought down across the 35-yard line at the 36, a pickup of 16 on the throw to Max Davenport. 26 catches coming in, 367 yards in the air.
And that was an excellent throw right in the seam. He got the inside shoulder of the defender and right between the defensive back and the linebacker. Excellent throw, good route.
As Clifton with the carry in motion, now flag on the play as Clifton's dropped out of bounds. He goes out at the 40, and it's going to be a hold against Maroa, and it's going to come back.
Well, whenever you run that jet sweep, if that defense rolls up too quickly, that outside blocker, who is your wide receiver, has a longer time.
Holding, 84, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
He has a longer time to hold that block. And, you know, you tell your kids, don't turn and look to see who the runner is. You keep blocking until you hear the whistle. Well, in this case, what happened is it was a jet sweep, as you can see here, and the defender came up. He just grabbed hold of him. And it was a good job by the defender to come up and make the play, but that's a tough block for a wide receiver to sustain a block that long.
Benner fakes the give. Throws to Morris.
Oh, my
one-handed
goodness.
grab by the sophomore.
Oh, my goodness.
Caden Morris with the great catch. A pickup of 20. Josh Josta says when it comes to Caden Morris, we focus on route running. The rest is God-given. And there is a great example of that. Watch this catch.
One of the other things he also said, he's got some of the biggest hands he has ever seen. Now, right here, that's exactly what comes into play on that one-handed catch. He's also a Division I player. But just look at that catch, how high he gets up there with one hand. Dear goodness gracious.
We might get on ESPN with that one, partner.
Wow.
Here's Benner on the keep across the 45.
And I think he's only a sophomore. 6 foot, 6'1", actually 191 pounds. He's got a lot of schools looking at him already. But look at that. And that's actually going back across his body, which is even a tougher catch, along with the one-handed catch going up in the air, which is the second part of it. And then the third part is reaching back. My goodness.
I love what Ian Benner said about him after the semifinal win. He said, he's a stud, but he's a little dorky.
He might take that back after this.
Made him look pretty good on that one, didn't he? Caden Morris 60 catches on the season coming into this ball game. This time it's to Drew Hicks. He's got blockers on that left side. And he's down to about the 46-yard line after a gain of 8.
Now there is where Benner shows you his football IQ. Prior to that snap, one of the receivers was not in good position to run that bubble screen, and he waved him in to get him in the right position to be able to block for that particular play. What an excellent job, not physically throwing the ball, but mentally bringing in his receiver.
2nd and 2. The give is to Clinton. He's through the second level, and he's outside the numbers and down inside the 20-yard line. A pickup of 28 for Gavin Clifton, who missed last year's state title game. Missed the first 3 games of this year. He's been motivated since coming back.
And for all the games that he's missed, he has over 1,000 yards, but this gives you an idea of what kind of a threat he is. Very explosive when he gets the football in his hands.
Trojans looking to answer here. Benner down to the 15. That's that little play where we saw that last year. He runs to the line, fakes a throw, and kind of tries to throw the defense off a little bit.
And that's an option to either run or throw, because he could actually throw that ball. That's an option, run or pass, depending on where that linebacker plays. If he comes in, he'll dump the ball into the back that's going in behind the linebacker. If the linebacker stays off, then he runs with the ball.
2nd and 8. Give to Clifton. He's down inside the 10, down to the 9-yard line, a pickup of 7.
And it's nice to have a running back threat along with that versatile quarterback that has the arm and the feet to keep things alive out of the spread. That creates such a defensive problem, is who do you really guard against?
Davenport's the man in motion. Clifton caught at the line of scrimmage and wrestled down. Austin Spiller read that one wonderfully. He's the team leader in interceptions, but he comes up with a big play there, busted through the line of scrimmage, and a loss of 2.
Well, they just said we got to make something happen, and they just fired him through the gap. Watch him come right there, and a good job of blitzing and stopping that play. That was a big defensive play for them right there.
Talked about the GCMS defense. You talked about 6 shutouts. They only allowed 2 teams to score 2 touchdowns this year. Eureka in week 2 and Sterling Newman in the quarterfinals.
I think we're going to get a timeout here because this is too big a play.
Not
to be sure exactly what you're going to do. But what an outstanding play that was by Austin Spiller, and what a great defensive call it was on 3rd down, knowing that you had to put the pressure on them. And now the pressure is really on them with 4th and goal. I'm impressed with both of these teams. Really done a nice job.
Watch former Bears coach Dave Wanstedt break down the X's and O's of the Bears-Lions game. Don't miss touchdowns and takeaways. Presented by Enkin Law, Monday at 5:30 on NBC Sports Chicago. How about those Chicago Bears?
That's quite surprising. Doing a nice job. Nice job. I'm not a big pro football fan personally, but I really enjoy high school, number 1, and then colleges more because I think it's more down to earth. There's less showboating, obviously.
There's a heck of a high school football coach right there, Josh Justice. Man,
sure
what a program he has built. 178 and 53 in his 19 years at Maroa-Forsyth, and a big shout out to his wife Heidi. He says she does it all. She helps with the Spirit program and team meals. Benner looking into the end zone. It's a jump ball for Davenport.
No.
It's picked off. And that's Lawfrey, the freshman, from out of the end zone. He's out to midfield. Still on his feet.
We got a flag, though.
A flag at the 26-yard line. And a Maroa-Forsyth player out of bounds gets up slowly as Davenport's hurt in the end zone.
55-yard return right there, and depending on what happens with the penalty. But that's where that 3rd down play was so important by that blitz by Spiller. But right there, great job by the secondary.
Davenport made a great catch similar to that in the end zone a year ago.
The ruling on the field is an interception in the end zone during the return. Illegal block in the back, 18, White. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That may have been, I don't know for sure, that may have been how Tanner Hetz ended up out of bounds. Check this out again. Wow, I think that was Hayden, or check that, I think that was Cade Elliott putting the hit on Davenport, not allowing him to come up with the catch.
Well,
no, it's number 2. It's Lane Short.
And again, being around the football, having a magnet for the ball, good things are going to happen. Not only pursuing the ball on a running play, but getting to the football once it's in the air. And that's exactly what happened right there, the old tip drill. The ball's up in the air, and if you're around it, something good can happen if you're aggressive. And that certainly did happen right here. And a freshman yet.
Well, he's got 5 touchdown catches. He comes up with a big catch defensively that time. Aiden Lawfrey, 5'10", 160-pound freshman.
Well, other teams in the conference have noted his ability throughout the year, and they were really impressed with his quickness, and a couple of the coaches said he was a very electric player, and he certainly is that.
Max Davenport, the senior receiver, coming off gingerly after landing on his back, unable to hang on to that pass. Lawfrey with the interception. He came up with that big tackle that caused the fumble down at the other end, remember?
Right here, great isolation right here. There's the pop. The ball bouncing off the body in his hands, and being around the football, good things are going to happen, and that resulted in a big turnover and a big stop right there for Gibson City.
Lane Short, the unanimous all-conference defensive back, with the big hit there to cause that interception. After the penalty, they're back at their own 16.
He's got room.
That's Lawfrey again, another flag, which from where that came from, it's likely going to come back. Lawfrey getting the ball in his hands. It's holding against GCMS, so that'll come back.
And that's really a backbreaker when you have a long run and you get a penalty and it's brought back, especially when you're coming out of the shadow of your own end zone.
Holding, 63, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
Well, a big interception, but unable to take advantage of it here. A couple of penalties have pushed them back. They would have been pretty close to midfield. Now they're back inside their own 10 after those 2 penalties.
And the thing is, if they have to kick, they'll have to win, but you never know what's going to happen on turf. But Maroa has turnovers in their last 3 drives, and that's certainly on Maroa-like.
Yes, it is.
But part of that is, you know, Gibson City's very aggressive defensively.
Fantina in motion. Keeps it inside and picks up maybe a yard. I think he may have coined a phrase there, un-Maroa-like. I like that. Very good stuff.
Somebody came up with physicality, which I don't know where that came from, but there was a good job of penetration right there by the defensive line. They tried to run the belly play, and what happened on that particular play, the belly just took a little too long with the ride of the fullback and then the tailback, which allowed a lot of penetration and also the linebackers to fill. And again, Maroa, if they can stop him here, is going to end up probably with decent field position.
2nd and 15 now. That looked like the left end flinch for GCMS. If so, that would be the 3rd penalty here on this drive against the Falcons.
Prior to the snap, ball starts. Left tackle. Half the distance to the goal. Replay 2nd down.
Now, we've had a block punt in this ball game already. And when you look at these situations, that starts running through your mind. Is this a situation that could be created again by the defense of Maroa here, where they're already in and backed up and they got long yardage? They're not a real passing team from the standpoint of this is something they like to do. It's not part of their repertoire, if you will, and they're going to be forced to do it. Now, this is also a good screener draw situation.
2nd and 20 from the 6. And the give was to Peyton Keene. And it's timeout now.
Timeout, Maroa.
For Maroa. They're going to try and get the ball back with a little time on the clock here.
And you can't take those timeouts into the locker room with you. It's not like they're an investment for the second half.
That's true.
Two really good coach teams, really well coached, and obviously well prepared for each other, not just based on last year's film, but you could say, well, you look at the tape from last year and you get a lot off of it. You get something off of it, but personnel has changed. Sure. Even though they both have a lot of players coming back, sometimes the personnel that you have, you kind of dictates what you want to do, both offensively and defensively, and that's where the changes occur. And that's where these coaches come into effect, that they pick those things up, and they do such a great job of preparing their kids for it. And certainly both of these coaching staffs have done that for their teams.
And when you go up against a really good team, like both of these teams are doing here, you see things you said on Maroa, like with their turnovers. Well, GCMS allowing points in the first quarter was on GCMS-like.
Absolutely.
If I can borrow your
and a lot of and you may. A lot of times it's just one play here or there, or just a little movement of a linebacker in one position or another to make the difference.
3rd and 18. Gerard from his own goal line overthrows Jared Trantina. He would have been well short of first down yardage at that point. So it's going to be a punt from the end zone for the Falcons.
And Trantina's a 5'8" receiver, and he would have had to be a 6'8" receiver to have made that catch. Well, good position going to be had here by Maroa, although they'll be kicking with the wind, and it's a pretty strong wind. It's really picked up pretty well. But remember this, he's got a shorter field to deal with, but he's kicking with the wind, but the snapper is snapping the ball into the wind, which makes a difference. Sometimes they overcompensate.
It's blocked again. And out of the end zone.
That's what we talked about.
That's a safety. Ironic, that's how Maroa won last week's game against St. Teresa on a safety, and they get another one here. Didn't see who got the hand on the football, but that's the second block punt of the game for the Maroa-Forsyth special teams.
Well, when you're good football teams and you're playing in the state championship game, and of course Maroa is 13-0, and you can see right here, you're good in all facets of the game. Not only offensively, defensively, but special teams play such an important role in your success because it gives you plays like that, but it also gives you great field position where that good offense can take over. And, sometimes it's overlooked how important special teams are for good football teams.
Well, they are special.
Very good.
That was Johnny Luttrell, 5'9" sophomore with the block punt. Zach Clifton, a freshman, got the first one. So special teams, a big key here for Maroa, as it's now 21-16, and they will get the ball after the free kick with 1:11 to go here in the first half and one timeout to play with.
And the other part of that, psychologically, when Gibson City, if and when they have to punt again, don't you dare think that the punter's not going to be thinking about that. And also the offensive lineman, which means there won't be as much coverage downfield because they're going to be staying home to block a little longer. Maybe another count or a count and a half. Because usually you count off how long you're blocking for. 1,001, 1,002 as you're dropping, and then you release. But in some cases, like this, they say wait till you hear the snap or the punt of the ball on the foot.
Rolling football picked up by Hicks at the 35. And he takes it down to the 44-yard line. 23 yards on the return, and it'll be a short field for Maroa as they look to take the lead back. They led 14-7. GCMS scored back-to-back touchdowns to take the lead. But now a block punt and a safety for the Trojans. They've got 1:06 to get into the end zone here, into the wind.
Into the wind, but they're with a quarterback. That's the kind of quarterback you want to have in a situation like this with 1:06 left, and you're at midfield.
3 receivers at the top of your screen. Benner throws to Hicks. He's got blockers, but Gerard is there and well read by the GCMS defense to pick up a 3.
I'm really impressed with Benner's mechanics. If you watch him throw the football, his mechanics are excellent. He really has good footwork, and his technique is very good. It gets a lot on the ball. You can't get that ball outside on that bubble screen and have it like a lobbed out there. You got to really rifle it, and that's exactly what he's done each time.
Next level quarterback in your estimation?
Yes. Yeah. Now,
which level? That's
yeah,
the
there
question,
you go.
right?
Which level? Now, he certainly is going to play football in college somewhere.
Injured player on the field is Lance Livingston. He's being tended to by the staff at GCMS.
And the thing is, it's not, size is important at the next level, especially Division I, and he's 6'1" right now. The weight factor, he's only 170 pounds right, and next year he'll be 180. So, and he'll be a lot better next year than he is now. So if his regression continues, he certainly is possibly a Division I player.
For the best coverage of the IHSA Championship games, turn to High School Lights, presented by Wintrust, tomorrow night at 11 on NBC Sports Chicago, or live stream at NBCSportsChicago.com.
Good football game. Good football game by two good football teams.
Lee Hall, Jack McInerney with you up top. Patrick Reed, Edgy Tim down low on the field for this 2A state championship game. It's been an exciting game so far. Under a minute to go now. Maroa-Forsyth cutting into that 7-point lead. They could go on top with a touchdown here. Hicks in motion. Now the reverse. That's Wade Jostis, the backup quarterback, throwing for Ian Benner, but incomplete. Little razzle-dazzle look for the Trojans there.
Well, they wanted to get Benner on a wheel route up the sideline, but timing was kind of thrown off. I think Benner delayed a little too long, but a nice job defensively by Gibson City. They read that, and the corner stayed home, and he was really within 3 or 4 yards of Benner going up the backside. So that play, I don't think, would have been very successful.
We talked about 62 touchdowns in the career of Jared Trantina. How about this 42nd varsity game for Ian Benner? That was in and out of the hands of Caden Morris, thrown behind him. What the catch he made in the first quarter. That is one we won't soon forget. He's
like
limping a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely limping. Look at the size of those hands. I wouldn't call those hands. I'd call them paws.
Yeah. Josh Joseph said they're the biggest hands he's ever seen. That's and Caden Morris has a long way to go to become a Division I tight end. Size, speed, different things, but he's on that path for sure.
Right.
Quick kick from Jostis, or Benner rather. That's Lawfrey fielding it inside his own 10-yard line. Time running down. Oh. He's getting knocked out of bounds.
I wonder if Morris has trouble texting.
That looked like Tucker Klein knocking him out.
With big, aren't we in the time when everybody texts and the kids are like that?
I have big fat thumbs myself.
Oh yeah, my daughter's called to say I have sausage fingers. Good job of returning this football here. 18 seconds left on the clock. There'll be some adjustments at halftime, but you talk about two teams that are really doing a nice job of defending and offending each other. That's what we have.
18 seconds to go here. Gerard out of the shotgun, looking deep with the wind at his back. Shuffles to the left, throws one up for Holt. There's a one-handed grab. No, it came out. It came out. He had it, but it came out, and it's incomplete. Trying to one-up Caden Morris with a one-handed grab there, but he didn't have control of it.
He had a lot of time here to throw it up in the air. Pretty good job of keeping the ball alive. And a pretty darn good effort right there, and he had control until he came down. And that's a good job by a very versatile athlete, Benner, defending him.
But how about Ryland Holt, the basketball player, checking off his man like for a rebound? And they talk about that a lot.
Oh, sure.
We're wide receivers, but we're rebounders. We're just going up for the ball. 2nd and 10 now with 8 seconds to go. And it's going to be Gerard on the ground here. And that's going to run out the first half. Rather than do anything too risky, GCMS runs out the clock, and they'll go into the locker room with a 21-16 lead here. A couple of big special teams plays for Maroa-Forsyth, but it's GCMS taking a lead to the locker room as Gerard comes back to talk to his head coach.
Very impressive Two very good high school football teams, extremely well coached. They know their limitations. They know what's good for them offensively and how to execute it and what to do. And defensively, both teams are extremely well prepared for the other team.
Great crowd on hand here this afternoon from both sides. Of course, pretty close proximity. Both teams, well, GCMS about a half-hour bus ride away. Maroa-Forsyth also in the 217 area code. Let's go downstairs to Patrick Reed. He's with Coach Allen.
With GCMS coach Mike Allen, your instant takeaways from the first half of the 5-point lead.
We have to start tackling better, maintaining our block on our backside. Their backside's getting to our running back. And, we have to catch some breaks. And guys are playing well. We adjusted that second quarter and played much better, so we have to keep going like that.
Jared Trentino was really special at times in the first half for your team. What makes him so exciting?
He's able to bounce. He's able to bounce the ball. We know we're running inside, having success. They clogged it up, and he's able to see a good vision and get to the outside. And he's going to keep doing that, picking and choosing where to go.
All right, thanks, Mike. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, Patrick, Mike Allen trying to defend that 2A state championship. Been a back-and-forth affair. Both teams getting into the end zone. Trentino with a couple of touchdown runs. Actually, 3 touchdown runs for GCMS. The Maroa-Forsyth special teams keeping them in this one. Looking forward to an exciting second half from Champaign.
Hey, Mike, check. Edgy.
Check 1 2, check 1 2. Yeah, you got to move over a little bit. I'm kind of tethered.
Plenty of drama in this Class 2A championship, but what else do you expect from a couple of undefeated teams? It's Gibson City with a 5-point lead on Maroa-Forsyth through one half of play here in Champaign. Patrick Reed, Edgy Tim along with you. Edgy, that was back and forth. That was filled with dramatic moments, offensively, special teams. Really interesting first half.
I think the only thing we didn't see is like a fumble rooski and like a lonesome polecat.
There's still time.
Outside of that, we've seen everything. And I mean, we talked about it going into the game, Patrick. We knew that you were going to have a back and forth kind of affair. And I mean, we've seen block punts, special teams being a factor. I don't see that changing at all here in the second half.
GCMS looks like a state title team. They won this game last year against Maroa-Forsyth. Jared Trentino has been able to break things open for GCMS and just a physical force out there.
Well, again, he was a fullback last year. He's a lead back this year, so he's kind of in the major spotlight this year, and he's taken it and obviously has run with it.
But for the good things that the Falcons have done offensively, they do have some things to clean up, including special teams.
They do. I mean, you've got to get that punt team figured out. There's no doubt about it. The coaches, I guarantee you, are working on that right now. And again, for Maroa, you've got to limit the turnovers. You know, it's again, you want to play fast, you want to play kind of loose and get after it. But again, you got to limit it because, Patrick, you've got one half of football left. A turnover here or there, that could be the difference between going home with a really nice trophy and a nice trophy.
Cleaning up on special teams will be important, but also dealing with a wind here at Memorial Stadium will be a factor in the second half.
It is picking up, and it's got a feeling it's going to continue to pick up as the night moves on, but you could definitely feel it here in the first half. The winds were starting to pick up a bit. Going to definitely keep an eye on that in the second half.
Well, GCMS is a team that's beaten its opponents by an average of 41 points per game this season. This is not looking to be one of those games here today against Maroa-Forsyth.
No, it's not, and both teams have had kind of a nice path and really haven't been challenged too bit, but I don't think you ask either side. There was no blowout expected here. You knew this was going to be tight. We knew it, and here we go.
And in part, it's because of the familiarity that these two teams have with each other, especially in this situation.
I think it's familiarity and respect. I mean, they both understand how good the other is and what they do well. And again, it's also been a great chess match between two great coaches to watch how they counteract. And I'm interested to see how Maroa and continues to approach and see if Gibson City can make some adjustments there, especially as we talked about in special teams.
Ledgy, we've got a ways to go in this game. We've still got some time to come back and talk about Maroa-Forsyth, the Trojans. They trail in this game by 5 in a rematch of last year's 2A state championship game. It's a 5-point lead for the Falcons through one half. This guy's familiar with the big stage. Maroa-Forsyth back in the Class 2A championship game and trailing Gibson City by 5 through one half of play here in Champaign. Edgy for Maroa-Forsyth. They had some moments to shine in the first half, especially with that spread offense, able to chew up some yards and create some touchdowns.
They did, and again, when you look at going into this and what you thought they would need to do, they're getting it done. Both sides are getting it done, and Maroa is as well, and you've got to be impressed here with Ian Benner.
Benner going right over the top to Caden Morrison. We'll see him a little bit later. The one thing about this offense, Tim, is they've been able to chew up big yards in the middle of the field. Maybe the red zone is what they want to clean up in the second half.
Exactly, and that seems to be the Achilles right now. Once they get inside the red zone, they struggle a little bit, but before then, they're all over the field, up and down. Again, that's just timing and great work with your receivers in this offense. You've got to be impressed.
And then special teams from Maroa-Forsyth as well, a force in the first half.
Yeah, I guarantee you they're watching tape right now, watching the breakdowns and getting that sorted out, but you have to get that sorted out. There's no question.
What else do you see as adjustments that Maroa-Forsyth might be needing to make in the second half?
I don't know if you change a whole lot, honestly, Patrick. I mean, you're moving the ball. You're able to do some things. Certainly offensively, defensively, you want to tighten things up a little bit. Pay attention to Mr. Trantino a little bit more. But, again, it's kind of what we thought. It's back and forth, and I think we're going to continue to see this in the second half.
Okay, we alluded to this earlier. We've got to take another look at this catch by Caden Morris. Ian Benner with the high throw. Morris is going to deliver a highlight moment here. One-handed. Get up, son.
Now, this is like one of those where you get yelled at in practice because you're doing this, and then when you make a catch in a championship game, the coaches might, well, maybe we'll let him try that a few more times in practice.
That's a championship caliber play for sure.
And again, that is a Division I tight end play. I know the guys up in the booth were talking about it earlier. There's no doubt this young guy shows a lot of ability in that regard. So, again, very, very impressive. A lot of great athletes on both sides here, Patrick, no doubt.
Great athletes, players familiar with each other. What do we expect from this second half?
Well, I think more of the same. We saw the same game last year, and we hate to be repeating ourselves, but they know each other so well. They're sticking to their strengths, and why change? It's working. For the most part, it's working on both sides. But as we mentioned, there's always things to clean up. That's going on right now, but I'm strapping in. Get another turkey sandwich and sit down and watch the second half of this game. It's going to be fun.
And some more of those leftovers from that fridge. Come on back and join us. GCMS with a 5-point lead on Maroa-Forsyth as we get set for the second half here in Champaign. 5-point lead for GCMS as we get set to start the second half. I'm with Josh Jostis, and what adjustments are you guys going to be making heading into the second half?
Well, whale of a ball game. We got to punch it in. We get it in the red zone. Had 2 attempts. One really close there on a play where we thought he was down in the end zone and kind of reversed it. Otherwise, we'd be up right now, and we're going to come out swinging for 24 minutes and leave it all out here.
What's been your assessment of Ian Benner's game so far?
Playing really well, playing like the kid that we expected.
All right, best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Josh Jostis, Maroa-Forsyth Trojans trail by 5 as they get set to start the second half in a rematch of last year's Class 2A championship game. We'll return to Champaign after this.
I can never figure
Good
out
night,
which one to look
Jagdish.
at.
Good night, Jagdish. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney back with you at Memorial Stadium on the campus of the University of Illinois. What a ball game. GCMS up 21-16 as we get ready to start our third quarter. More football coming your way next on NBC Sports Channel Plus in Chicago. Monticello taking on Byron, and Bishop Mack and IC Catholic in 4A tonight, scheduled for a 7 o'clock start with our friends Dave Bernhardt and Mark Lindo.
IC Catholic, one of my first coaching jobs. Outstanding program in Elmhurst, Illinois. They've had a real nice run the last 4 or 5 years.
Was that back in the leather helmet days?
No helmets.
Got it. A quick look at the stats. What did you see that stood out to you? Pretty fairly even rushing wise.
Well, I thought it was real even though, I mean, statistically, they both ran. Gibson City ran 28 plays and Maroa ran 29. Gibson City had 253 yards with those 28 plays, and Maroa had 275 yards with 29 plays. So you say, well, why is the score? It's relatively close, but the key has been turnovers, and where did those turnovers take place? You know, it's one thing if a turnover takes place and you're 90 yards away. It's another situation when the turnover takes place and it's 10 yards away from you going in for a score. And that's in many cases when you get a game like this. Can you take advantage of crucial turnovers in key situations as far as where they are on the field?
GCMS with 14 points off turnovers in that first half. And Maroa will get the ball back. They came up with the special teams big plays in the first half. A couple of blocked punts, one resulting in a safety there late in the second quarter.
Well, I think they need to figure out, for example, for Gibson City, Fantina has 11 carries for 137 yards, and on the other side, Maroa, Clifton has 8 carries for 130, so they're going to have to close down on those two runners.
Hicks brings it out to the 20-yard line. Laughley was there again, had his hand on the jersey, helped bringing him down. Isaiah Chapman in on the tackle as well for GCMS. So it'll be 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line for Maroa-Forsyth.
Now, is Ian Benner going to come out and be a little more versatile? They only ran the option once, and it was a very effective play in the first half, and I would suspect that, force Gibson City to make some mistakes on the option.
Flipping in motion, Benner on the keep. Gets a couple of yards. Max Davenport, number 5, who came off gingerly, I guess you could say, off of the field after that almost catch in the end zone, is back out there for Maroa-Forsyth.
Usually you can tell how effective a player is how well he does in the big games. And for example, last week, Benner against St. Teresa in the semifinals was 15 of 20 for 120 yards and 1 touchdown. And he also ran for a touchdown. So that tells you something about his competitive abilities against teams in big games.
In pretty tough field conditions last week as well.
Right, and here's a big game, and Benner's been extremely good.
There's a toss out to Morris. Get in, pick up a 4. And bring up 3rd down now.
And a crucial conversion here from Maroa early. And of course, when you're in games like this, all those 3rd down conversions are crucial. That's why 1st down is so very important. Maroa is 1 of 5 on 3rd down coming to this point.
3rd and call it 5. Morris in motion.
There's your option.
Benner nowhere to go. Now has to roll right. Trantina in hot pursuit. Morris a block, but there for the tackle is Lane Harden. Pickup of just a yard, so it'll be 4th down. Maroa will have to punt.
Now they tried to run the option at the bottom of the screen, but you could see what a great job right there. The safety, Nathan Garrard, came up and took the pitch man away from Benner so he couldn't pitch it. So he had to reverse field and go back, and a nice job of staying back on the backside by the defense and not allowing him to make the conversion.
Benner to punt from his own 20, averages 37 yards a kick. Gets a good bounce there on the turf, and Laughley will just back away from it.
I think as he gets older, he'll want to handle that ball because turf gives an awful lot of extra yardage. And when you're back there, you need to. It turned out to be a 44-yard punt, and you got to handle the ball. That's so crucial if you're back there. I want to catch the ball, number one, and a play like that, he could have picked it up and gained another 10 or 20 yards there.
And if you do that over the course of the game and the course of the season, you're giving up a lot of yards.
Absolutely. Plus, you know, the field position is crucial for your offense.
Nathan Gerard under center, starting from his own 26-yard line. The handoff to Peyton Keene. And I believe I spoke to his mother. I believe that his mother or grandmother, and I apologize for not knowing, but the school secretary helped us out with stats and the roster, so thank you, Mrs. Keene.
Well, her son did a nice job right there, or her grandson. 195-pounders, close to the surface, and at 5'9", so he's got some good surges there inside the tackles.
Hard to tell on the phone. Here's the pitch to Trantina around the right side. And a nice open field tackle there by Hayden Mitchell.
What a nice job by the defense of rotating into that pitch very quickly and getting there and filling the gaps and stopping that for a relatively short gain. They react extremely well in the perimeter, the defensive backs, as far as coming up and filling, because they know for the most part that Gibson City does not throw the ball as much and or as effectively for the most part as Maroa does.
Trantina, 12 carries, 141 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Falcons. They lead it by 5. Second down and 6 here. Trantina, not much there. He plows into the wall of blockers and gets out to the 44-yard line. Pickup of the 3.
Good job right there by the defensive front of negating the surge of the offensive lineman, but then of the linebackers filling.
I thought I noticed Ian Benner limping a little bit on that last drive, getting his ankle retaped over there on the sideline.
Well, I think when he cut back after the option was taken away, that's when his foot kind of stuck. Now Gibson City is 0 for 3 on 3rd down, so we'll see what happens here.
3rd and 3 with 8 minutes to go in the 3rd. Falcons up 5. Gerard flips it out to Laughley for a first down. It is a first down. I was going to say it was very close, but Laughley with the catch. Again, Aiden Laughley, just a freshman. Gerard, his quarterback, said he's been very humble coming into the season, knew his spot, and has worked his way up through the ranks and has really gained the support and the confidence of his upper-class teammates.
Well, that's what you have to do. I mean, you can't come in and be real cocky when you're going up with a team that's the defending state champion. You better earn your right to be there, and he certainly has done that.
Gerard looking for Holt, and it's through his outstretched hands, a little bit high. Holt 4 catches, 70 yards in the win against Newman in the quarterfinals.
He got a little more zip on that ball, throwing it into the wind, and of course Holt's a 6'4" receiver, but he needed to be about 6'6" on that throw.
We talked about GCMS traveling the last 2 weekends. They put up 700 miles, just about, round trip going to Sterling and going to Lanark. Pretty close to home here today, leading by 5, a 2nd and 10 now. Gerard looking and overthrowing Trantina. It was out of bounds, and it'll bring up 3rd down now and 10.
They tried to run a combination up there on the wide side of the field with a wheel route, and good pressure by the defense, but a good job by the secondary.
It's the 2nd straight year that GCMS has had to go on the road to play at Sterling Newman. Kind of unusual. Defending state champs go on the road twice in a row in the quarterfinals and semis, but whatever it takes has been their motto, and they have lived up to that here this season. Gerard's pass intended for Keene, and that's overthrown. It'll be 4th down. So GCMS unable to connect as they go to the air 3 straight plays.
Well, that last play action put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, because instead of just one play action look as far as faking to a defensive back, he faked it 2 different backs. And by the time he turned around, he didn't have much time to survey the field to look for an open receiver. He kind of just forced the ball down in there.
2 blocked punts in this ball game for Maroa-Forsyth. Ben Freehill with his own 35. He's probably thinking about that again. And a bad snap. And he just flips it ahead. And they'll call it an incomplete pass.
Well,
Special
it's been
teams.
interesting. We talked about psychologically what has happened with these special teams. That was a pretty smart play by him doing that, but it still gives them possession. But my point being this, that whether the ball, people take for granted that snap, and you can't do that in high school football. You can't take for granted extra points or field goals or punts or anything along those lines. And it's not something that is not practiced during the week, but there's not guys coming full bore at you during the week as they are in the real game.
The Maroa fans unhappy. The Maroa sidelines asking for intentional grounding.
And right up at the top of the screen, you can see the officials conversing up there. And that's always a sign of an excellent crew, is when they talk about something, they get together and they discuss it. We're going to have a little timeout here. Officials timeout, I believe. Now this can, as you mentioned, this can be a intentional grounding. There's got to be a receiver again. Pressure coming. It could have been blocked. That's a potential receiver right there. Make up a name.
Here we go. Josh Jostis and his coaching staff, special teams coach, getting an extra pat on the back for the punting unit defensively for Maroa-Forsyth. A couple of blocks and maybe an intimidation even of the center there on that bad snap. Maybe he's thinking about it too.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. That's, as I mentioned earlier on the last punt block. Psychologically, it plays a big role the next time they're going to snap.
Well, no intentional grounding, but Maroa-Forsyth does get the ball at the GCMS 48-yard line, trailing by 5 here. Benner back to throw after getting that ankle taped up. Looks none the worse for wear as he rolls out right and slides at the 40-yard line. Picks up about 8.
Good job right there of showing the versatility that you need to have when you're in a spread formation. You have an athlete back there that can run and throw. There was no routes available to him, so he just pulled it down and ran. Instead of turning it into a sack or a no gainer, he turns it into an 8-yard gain. Good job right there by the quarterback.
He's an outfielder and an infielder and a pitcher, so he does know how to slide. Some quarterbacks don't, even in the NFL. That's Clifton on the carry. He talked to these Maroa-Forsyth players and coaches, pickup of 11. Clifton said, we haven't played our best game yet. Benner said, we can still play a lot better on offense.
Well, when you believe in each other and you believe in the coaching staff, and the other thing is you believe in your offense, what it's capable of doing. That's where you develop that type of confidence. And, of course, through the year, they've done extremely well with their offense.
Little shovel pass. And down to the 25-yard line is Caden Morris, who made that awesome one-handed catch back in the first quarter.
4-yard gain there. And what they're looking for in a particular play like that is when they run the option to the outside, they're hoping everybody's going to fast flow to where the quarterback is in the pitch man. And then that man comes underneath and pitch it back under. But a nice job of backside of Gibson City staying home and making the play.
2nd and 6. It's Clifton. Kind of grabbed from behind there. Hayden Workman, the leading tackler, got him around the waist and kept him from going any further.
3-yard gain there, and it's going to be a situation now where they're in 4th down territory. Good job defensively by the Falcons of Gibson City. That defensive front is doing a nice job.
3rd and 3. Center flips it out to Clifton. He's got blockers.
Wow.
And he's just going to be short of the 1st down. Brought down at the 20. It'll be 4th and 1.
What a nice job by Nathan Gerard. Two-way player, quarterback, and defensive back coming up. You can see how fast he comes up here, gets rid of the receiver, comes up and makes a play. And we're going to look at 4th and 1. And Maroa-Forsyth at this point has only converted 1 out of 3 4th down plays, and this is another big one where they have to take advantage of this kind of territory. And can they make it continue the drive?
Benner.
No, yeah.
Thought he lost the football. He falls forward. He's going to be very close.
No, he didn't get it.
I don't think he did. He snuck up under center, and it didn't look like the snap. It didn't look very clean, did it? It didn't flow very well.
Well, you don't see them doing that all game long. So, I mean, it's something that for the most part, they do practice it. But if you haven't done it all game long, and that's something they haven't done, and that's the 4th turnover for Maroa-Forsyth right now.
The GCMS defense comes up big here. You can see Benner didn't really get a good hand on it. He reached for it, but didn't get it. And it'll be GCMS ball when we come back. They lead by 5.
Well, right here, when you're not used to doing it, that's what happens. Bobble the snap from under center because he's not used to doing that. And then that tremendous 12th man, defensive 12th man, which is the turf, got him, and he stumbled and did not pick up the 1st down. Big turnover, and now what can Forston do with it? Excuse me, Gibson City.
GCMS from their own 20. Here's Trantina out across the 25-yard line to the 26. Mike Allen says the higher the level of the game, the more intense Jared Trantina gets.
You know what's interesting? You get a team that offensively can put up all those points and all that yardage up on the board, and consecutively and for 13 games, and yet it comes down something like that and they can't get a yard. Those are the things that come back to haunt you as a coach and when you reflect during the winter.
2nd and 4. Keene gets a couple.
And this will be a nice, interesting play for Gibson City here, coming up 3rd and about 3. They don't want to punt the ball into this wind, and that wind has picked up significantly.
The Maroa fans cheering on their defense here. Trantina in motion. He's got the first down and a little more out to the 35-yard line. It'll be first down Falcons.
And this is something you can't teach a running back. 7-yard gain on that is the ability to be able to bounce the ball when the hole is closed. And he did it twice on that particular play. He was designed to really go off inside the tackle. He bounces it right here once and twice and gets outside, picks up the first down. Those are things you can't coach. Those are just natural abilities of a running back.
Mike Allen talked about that at halftime, his ability to bounce. Here he is again, the carry across the 40. Hayden Mitchell there on the tackle.
Nice job by the offensive line. A little counter where they run back. The guard traps and the tackle leads up. And they're doing a nice job of keeping Maroa off balance defensively. And of course, they're taking advantage of Tranitina. He's a workhorse. He doesn't look at how many times he carries the ball. He just tells me when do I need to carry it and how often do you want me to carry it.
Well, Mike Allen said our stats may not be as good as our kids would like them to be, but we're healthy as a team. That's more important. I guarantee you the kids don't mind as long as they get another ring. Here's the completion to Barnes. He breaks one tackle and gets down into Maroa-Forsyth territory. Knocked out of bounds at the 38-yard line. 22 yards on the pass to Bryce Barnes, who had that game-winning catch a year ago.
And I can guarantee you the coaches called this play down because the corner was playing really soft on the edge, and he just took that one step upfield, and that backed off the corner even further, and then the quarterback throws it out there. That could be an audible, but I think it was already a set play, but that very well executed.
Here's the give to the up man Keene, and he is met right at the line of scrimmage by Tanner Hetz, second on the team in tackles, number 51.
Held to a 1-yard gain on that particular play, and they certainly need to gain 3 to 4 yards of carry here. We talk about that often, but it's so very crucial in a game plan as well as any kind of a sustained drive. Again, they've got him matched up man-to-man on the bottom of your screen.
2nd and 9. The give is to Laffey. He has nowhere to go. Read well by Maroa-Forsyth. Stone Soa there for the loss of 4.
Good job by the backside, slowing that play down until help arrives. And there was a lot of help that arrived at the scene of the action here. Watch the bottom of your screen how he comes up and stops it and forces him to stop and turn back in. And then when he does that, you can see all his help arriving. And that's the key to pursuit. You have to take the proper defensive angles.
Justin Lyden, good number 4 out there on the edge, kind of keeping him contained as well. 3rd and 13. Trantina trying to muscle his way there. And he's well short after a pickup of 3.
I think that play was not the way it was designed to be run. There was a little mistiming on that particular play.
4th and 10, so Ben Freehill will come out there and try to pin Maroa-Forsyth deep. We've seen the adventures.
Okay, they're calling everybody in now for a tight formation because they're not concerned, obviously, about getting down and making any kind of coverage. And they want to make sure here pressure is on the center.
Timeout, GCMS.
And they had to take timeout on a punt.
Well, look at what's happened in some of these special teams. That timeout can be well worth it if it results in a decent punt and getting the ball off. He's not trying to call a trick play. He wants to make sure that everybody knows their assignments as far as blocking, because oftentimes you'll have splits out there, and then you'll look at the defense, and there's a man, either the punter or the up blocker, that will look at them and call in those wide people to come in to help block. And that's exactly what they did here. Originally they were outside and they called them inside because of the pressure that they could see Maroa was going to bring, so they brought in more people inside to help out. They won't even attempt to do anything here, but this will be like pass blocking. They'll try and keep him at the line of scrimmage until he gets it off, and he's obviously going to try and kick it into the corner somewhere.
It's been way too adventurous for GCMS's liking. Couple of block punts, a bad snap. This one is clean and away.
Ooh.
And it's going to roll into the end zone. GCMS have to stay in and block. Couldn't get that one covered.
Well, that's putting on the 20 rather than having it blocked and giving them the ball at midfield is a decent choice at this point. Now they got to trust their defense. Now coming into the third quarter, for the most part, Maroa-Forsyth has scored 146 points and giving up none, a 0. And of course, that tells you how good Gibson City's playing.
Benner rolling right, getting away from the pressure. He'll just run out of bounds and pick up about 4. He's rushed for 820 yards on the season.
That was an excellent job right there by the rotation of the secondary. That's why you had to haul it down. They did a nice job of coverage and forced him to run with the football.
When you talk about Maroa-Forsyth, you talk a lot about their quarterbacks, and Josh Jostis talking about Ian Benner. He says he's not easily rattled. I'm on him pretty hard. I think he takes the message and lets the rest of it go. He's just a junior, but if all goes well for him, he'll be the 6th 3-year starter at quarterback in 19 years for Josh Jostis. Clifton on the carry, this time out to the 30.
And plays like that would add another 10 yards if it wasn't for the outstanding play of Nathan Gerard. He's a safety, and what he does as soon as he reads it, he fills quickly and forces him to come up inside, slows the play down.
Great two-way player for GCMS. We head to the fourth quarter. It's a 5-point lead for the defending state champs. Cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls.
Help yourself.
Have one. It's all right. Don't take the cinnamon.
Notice nobody's.
Back at Memorial Stadium, what a beautiful shot. Yes, it's starting to rain a little bit. That's been in the forecast all day, and maybe more of a factor here tonight. We start our fourth quarter in Class 2A. Maroa-Forsyth with the football, trailing by 5. First and 10 from their own 30. Benner, the give to Bryson Bowes, the sophomore with his first carry of the ball game, and he is into GCMS territory, up and over the bench for Trojans first down after a gain of 29.
Well, that's interesting. Kind of a little spark there by an underclassman. Maroa-Forsyth up until this point in that particular play on their first 2 drives, they came up with 14 points. On their last 6 drives of the ball game, they came up with no points. But on those 6 drives, they had 4 turnovers. So that kind of tells you exactly something about a game like this. You cannot turn the ball over.
Leaping the bench in a single bound. Here he is again. Bowes, a little bit more physical presence in the run game at 5'8", 208. There's a flag on the play. Bowes had 55 yards in that win over Decatur St. Teresa in what was a huge game down in Macon County.
Well, I think part of it is to take some pressure off Benner as far as throwing the ball and running football.
5-yard face mask. Number 14, White. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Yeah, the penalty gives a little more momentum to the Trojans.
Good job right here. You can see where the face mask comes up just right there. That's why it's a 5-yard penalty. Great camera work as we've had in both games thus far.
They stick with Bowes for a couple of yards. 482 yards, 3 touchdowns on the season coming into the ball game for Bryson Bowes.
I get the feeling here that Maroa is setting Gibson City up for play action. Now he's been successful on a couple of runs and little play action. Benner's going to go up top.
Davenport goes in motion. Benner rolls right. He's going to keep it. And gets down to the 26-yard line. Pick up a 3.
Those safeties really close fast and close in the lanes between the corner and the linebackers. They come up quickly. After he tucks it like this, there's no more threat of a throw. So they come up fast and treat it just as a sweep and do an excellent job of tackling in the open field. They've been very successful with that. Doing a very nice job.
Big third down play here for the Trojans. Morris in motion. Benner rolling right. Pursuit from the backside. And that completion out of bounds. Morris made the catch, but he was out of bounds.
Kind of interesting running that into the short side of the field. And at first, when he first started, I thought he was going to have a throwback because he had a post route that was wide open. But they ran a kind of a short flood into the short side of the field. There's not a lot of room for those receivers to run into. The longer he holds on to the ball, the less territory, as you can see for both of them, that they have to go. So he's got to get rid of that ball a little sooner so they have more territory to run.
Trentino was the man in coverage. Noah Holtis comes out late for that play, and Bowes reaches with the football across the 20. They're going to mark him down.
Giving it to him.
And it's going to be a first down for the Trojans.
What a big, big run that was.
Wow.
What a big run right there. And that's stretching the ball over. He needed to get across that line, which he did. And, of course, the ball came out after he stretched it down. So this is an important, obvious drive for Maroa.
He had a big game against Tuscola in the quarterfinals, 124 yards. Bryson Bowes coming up big here for Maroa in the fourth quarter. Morris in motion. Benner out to Hicks, makes a move at the 20, gets down inside the 10 for first down, or very close to it. It is a first down for Maroa-Forsyth.
Great job on the bubble screen right there. Good delivery of the throw. Safety tried to come up real quickly. Bottom of your screen right here. You see how fast he tried to come up. This is the tackle. He overruns the play. Good execution.
10th play of the drive here. First and goal for Maroa-Forsyth. Should be their first lead since it was 14-7. A lot of scoring in the first half, a scoreless third quarter. Maroa looking to get on the board here, and Benner just throws it into the turf. There's a lot of white jerseys out there.
Well, Benner changed that call at the line of scrimmage, and then as he started to roll, the coverage also changed on him, and that was a smart play on his part, not to try and force the ball into the short side of the field. Again, if you're thrown into the short side of the field, think of the sidelines as another defender because the receivers have nowhere to go. So that was a smart play by Benner so that they could come up instead of forcing it. And this is something that, you know, with experience that you've learned, and he's obviously got the experience.
2nd and 10, a flag on the play. Illegal substitution against Maroa-Forsyth.
Substitution foul. 12 men on the field. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's like Hayden Mitchell came out there and made 12, and that's too many.
Well, the ball is on the right hash mark. You got a right-handed quarterback. It's a very difficult to have him roll to the right side because he doesn't have a lot of options. There's a possibility he'll roll to the left. It's a tougher throw for him, but he'll have more options.
To give that time is to Clifton, and it'll be 3rd down after a gain of about a yard. Third and goal from the 14.
Well, I think in this next play, you're going to see that they want to keep the ball in the hands of the best athletes. That's the man right there, number 9, as far as run and throw. Maroa's 1 of 8 on 3rd down, so we'll see what the transition is here.
Benner looking for the corner of the end zone for Morris. Incomplete. The sophomore couldn't come up with it. He's slow to get up.
That was a good throw. Good throw, and they kind of gave him a little double coverage there, knowing that it was Morris, who is their top receiver and probably the guy that they would go to. Has over 60 catches coming into the ball game. Now, we had seen him earlier, and it looked like he had been hurt. And it looks like it could be possibly the same injury. He had hurt his leg and was kind of limping around earlier.
They will tend to the sophomore. We'll take a break. 8:56 to go in this one. 4th and goal coming up for Maroa-Forsyth. They trail it rather, by 5. Championship football continues later on NBC Sports Chicago Plus. At 4, watch Byron take on Monticello for the IHSA Class 3A title. You can also stream the game live on NBCSportsChicago.com. Our friends Dave Bernhardt and Mark Lindo will have the call of that ball game for you here from Champaign. Lee Hall, Jack Bernhardt with you. 8:56 to go in this one, 4th and 14. Still a lot of football to play, but a big 4th down, maybe a game changer right here. 14th play of the drive for Ian Bennett. Fakes the give, here comes the pressure, and it is a sack for Bryce Barnes, the wide receiver extraordinaire, comes up with a big play as he sacks Benner for a huge loss and a change of possession for GCMS.
Well, coming into this ball game, he had 16 tackles for loss, and there will be no bigger one than this particular play right here. And here's just shows you what kind of athleticism he has. Is that, for 6'2", 225, he looks lean and mean, but he can move, and you can see that right here. What a big sack that is right there.
The 2-time All-Stater with a huge play. He had a huge offensive play last year and a big sack there. We've got a player down for GCMS.
And that looks more like a cramp than anything else. But that was just really a nice call. But they were going to put pressure on Benner no matter what, because they knew they were going to throw the football. And, of course, he wasn't dropping into coverage, so he was going to come off the edge. He had nobody blocking him because he brought the tackle inside, which tied up their offensive tackle and allowed him to come off the edge unscathed, unblocked, unattended. And he made the big play.
Senior Josh Bly down on the field for GCMS.
Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty right here where the defenses will really matter. They can put stops on these teams. Let's take a look right here at the pressure, top of your screen. He just comes. He's got help. And what helped that sack was he saw the pressure also at the top, so he tried to slow down rather than continuing, and that allowed the sack to take place.
Josh Bly walks off under his own power to applause from the GCMS crowd on the east side of Memorial Stadium. Looking for back-to-back state championships under Mike Allen.
I think this is where Trentino is going to take over here with the running game. First down is going to be crucial here.
From their own 29, it's Trantina indeed. Out to the 35, out to the 45 rather, out down to midfield and about the 48-yard line, a pickup of 20.
And having a veteran player back like this, 200-pounder, you can see right here, good kick-out block. He cuts underneath it, then cuts back against the grain. Some very poor tackling and some really hard running on Trentina's part to pick up that first down and take him to midfield with 8:30 in the clock running right now. Great effort.
Big day for Jared Trantina, the senior. He ran for 960 yards behind Mitch McNutt a year ago. This is Gerard on the keeper, getting down into Maroa-Forsyth territory after a pickup of 4.
It doesn't look like much at 4 yards, but it means a lot to that particular offense. Throughout the season, they've averaged 6.5 yards per carry running the football. And overall, in all the rushes all year long, they average about 7 yards a play.
Second down. Trantina again, not much there that time. No gain for Trantina.
Well, there, right, the nose guy really tied that up. Lane Olenmeyer did a nice job of penetrating, tying those guards up, which forced a little penetration, which forced them to bounce out a little further. And those are the kind of defensive plays that Maroa is going to need here.
3rd and 6. The Trojans defense needs a stop here. Clock working against the Trojans, who trail it by 5. Gerard flips it out to Barnes. He eludes a tackler. He's going to be very close to first down yardage as they mark him at the 42, and it is a first down. A pickup of 6 on 3rd down. Gerard to Bryce Barnes. And GCMS keeps the ball and keeps it moving and keeps the clock running.
Good job here, just pushing off that one step right there. But here's what they tried to do. They could see it was just man coverage, and they wanted to isolate him. And it's, you know, you either make the tackle or we're going to score, have a big gainer. And right there, he missed the tackle, and they got a good first down out of it. Puts a lot of pressure on the corner when you're one-on-one.
Trantina on the right side picks up a couple. This GCMS team, you may remember David Letterman's top 10 list. They beat 3 top 10 teams in the playoffs to get here. They beat 8th ranked Hope in round 2, number 5 Newman on the road, number 6 Eastland Prairie City, Eastland Pearl City I should say, on the road, and today they're trying to knock off number 1 Maroa-Forsyth. Trantina now on a reverse to Lawford, trying to get to the edge. And he's held on to there by Justin Livengood. No gain, and that brings up 4th down. A big stop for Maroa-Forsyth.
A big stop and a well-disciplined defense to make that stop.
Check that 3rd down.
Maroa plays really good on the backside away from a play. In other words, a play is going in one direction, and the backside stays home looking for counters or reverses. They do not start chasing the ball until it crosses the line of scrimmage. Then they'll take their angles of pursuit. So that shows you how well disciplined and well coached they are.
3rd down and 8 now. Gerard out of the shotgun. Looking down the left side, thrown behind Ryland Holt. And now it will be 4th down.
Not a real good job of running the routes. Anytime you have 2 receivers within 5 yards, that also brings 2 receivers closer together to the football. And the topside receiver was one-on-one. He had an open post route. And let's take a look at what he has to look at here. Here's a combination coming on the bottom, and he's running the skinny post, and there's the other receiver right there. You can't have that kind of route, so I think there might have been some miscommunication right there.
Freehill will punt with the wind at his back.
And nothing fancy at all right there.
And it's going to take a great bounce.
Yes.
Was his foot on the goal line?
Wow.
No, it's down at the 1-yard line.
39-yard punt. And it's not so much the distance as the direction and where it ended up. Good coverage right there. Again, we talk about special teams, how important they are. And even there, covering the football and putting it on the 1 yard line rather than letting it bounce into the end zone and they get it back out on the 20. I'm just really impressed with how well these teams are coached, both of them. Just watch this. He gets to the goal line, then you turn around. That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
And you can see green between his foot and the goal line.
Yep. Excellent job.
Long way to go for Maroa. 5:08 to play, 99 yards to take the lead. Benner from his own end zone. Looks for Hicks down the sideline, had him and overthrew him.
Now that first down play like that, he had Hicks, but Hicks was really squeezing the sideline. There wasn't a lot of room to operate right there. But that really puts Maroa in the hole as far as second and third down here. He's looking for him, but watch where he's squeezing the sideline right here. See, there's not a lot of room for him to throw the ball. He needs to be more between the numbers and the hash so that he has more room to operate. Like right now, they got to be worried about not scoring as much as they got to worry about picking up a first down out of here. Spread in the field.
2nd and 10. Benner back there by himself. He's going to keep it and get a yard or so and give himself a little breathing room.
Now, as active as he is as a quarterback, Lee, what happened right there is Gibson City had a spy on him. They knew by the way the formations, they had trips to one side, slots the other, that he was possibly going to run a quarterback draw. So they had a linebacker spy on him and read that perfectly. Watch where the linebacker is. He's reading him right here. And he comes up, makes the play.
Maroa calls timeout with 4:36 left, staring at a 3rd and 9.
And it's really too early to say it's going to be a 4-down play.
Get your favorite Chicago teams at your fingertips with the My Teams app by NBC Sports. Stream the games, read articles, and more. Follow your pro teams like a pro. Download the My Teams app today. 4:36 left in this one. Maroa trailing 21-16 and a 3rd and 9 here. They are 2 for 6 on 4th down today.
It's not something really to look forward to by the coaching staff of Maroa. And the thing is, it's a little early right here to go for it on 4th down. So if they don't get it, they'll punt and hope that the defense can stop Gibson City and they get another turnover, another opportunity. Because Benner's the type of quarterback that can lead them on a drive. So they don't want to do anything too crazy right here, right now, to give Gibson City the ball with excellent field position and an opportunity to take another score. Again, spread them out, trips to the top side, slots to the bottom.
Benner, the All-State junior. Looking down the middle and throws it right into the hands of Austin Spiller, and it's a pick 6 for Spiller and GCMS. And the defending state champs now go up 11 with 4:27 to play.
17-yard touchdown interception right there. Nice job just dropping out into the zones, and that's exactly what those linebackers did. Austin Spiller was the inside linebacker, and they said, okay, if he's going to pick up the first down, he's going to do it with his legs, not with his arm. Watch the linebackers drop. Right there, Spiller drops, and he picks it off. Right there, comes underneath the receiver. A nice job right there. Camel work, a better job by Spiller picking it off and taking it into the end zone.
Ian Benner just didn't see him, and he was right there.
6 turnovers from Maroa. 3 on 3rd down, 2 interceptions and 1 fumble. That's really very uncharacteristic.
3-0 the point after. And it's a 12-point GCMS lead. They had a big play on offense last season. The pass from Gerard to Bryce Barnes with 1:08 to play. Today, it's a big play defensively with 4:27 left as they get the pick 6 from Austin Spiller, 6 foot, 200-pound senior. Team leader now with 6 interceptions on the season.
Well, I think that Benner just forced the ball because he wanted to make something happen, and that certainly was to pick up that first down. And I think he looked away and then came back, and by that time Spiller had dropped in under coverage, and he was expecting that to be a skinny post route without Spiller being there, but he dropped late, and he was there with the big pick and the 17-yard touchdown return off the interception.
That's Spiller's second pick six of the postseason. He had a 40-yard pick six against Sterling Newman Catholic in the quarterfinals. And this is our Wintrust play of the game. Austin Spiller with the pick and taking it to the house as the Falcons get ever closer to defending that state championship from a year ago. That defense allowing just 4.3 points per game. They've given up more points today, but come up big there. Hicks now on the reverse. Now they'll pass it back to him. And really dangerous stuff here as it's recovered in the end zone, and it's going to be another GCMS touchdown. Recovered by Colby Taylor. Check that. That's Lane Harden.
Sometimes trickery can end up with bad things. That's a 7th turnover for Maroa. You can see the look of the coach right there. He probably wanted to be more upfield when he did that, not thinking that he was going to do it this close to the end zone. They fake this, and he throws it back right here, and as you can see, he bounces it right into the ground, and that all the way is a backward lateral. And the race is on, and who's going to get it? And it turns out to be Gibson City with another score late. And kind of takes Maroa out of the ball game with 4:17 left.
And that makes it 34-16 pending the extra point here.
What a quick turn of events.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns in less than 30 seconds.
35-16 now. And ironic that it started with the punt unit for GCMS, who had such a tough day. Had a couple blocked, had a bad snap. They pin them deep. They can't get out of there, throw an interception, and then try to do something special on the kickoff.
And here's a look at that. He bounces it in here, and it bounces. It's a backward pass, a lateral, because the design of the play was it had to be backwards for him to throw the ball then down the field. And naturally, when you throw it short, and of course on turf, you never know where it's going to bounce. And right here, it bounces past him, and it's a race to the football. And the race ends up with Gibson City picking up another score. They get a 35-16 with 4:17 and 2 scores late with almost within 30 seconds of each other. Those are things you don't expect to happen against Maroa City. You can see a dejected young man right there.
Ray Jostis, the sophomore son of head coach Josh Jostis. And 4:17 away from defending a state championship on the other side for GCMS. It has been a fantastic battle between these two teams that faced off against each other a year ago. GCMS coming from behind to win that one. After a scoreless third quarter, they put up a couple of quick touchdowns here in the fourth and take control of this ball game.
And irregardless of what the score ends up being, you won't probably realize, some people that didn't watch the game, of how close it was and how important those turnovers were and where those turnovers occurred and the result that they made as far as scores for the winning team. That's why sometimes statistics don't always tell the true tale of the result of the team.
It was 21-16 just moments ago. Benner now standing at his own 15 in the shotgun to give to Clifton, who they had kind of gotten away from a little bit, it seemed like. Picks up close to 8.
Well, Gibson City has scored 28 points off of turnovers. Wow, that's amazing. 28 points, but you have to give them credit. You know, some teams have, you know, there's turnovers and they don't take advantage of it by putting any points on the board, and Gibson City has done that. That's why they're going to possibly be a state championship team and defending their own title based on that.
Benner rolling right, nobody open. He's out at the 30. Well, and I can imagine in Josh Jostis' press conference, something changes drastically. He'll say you just can't turn the ball over that many times and expect to win a state championship game.
And that's probably a direct going to be quote. It's exactly the case. You got to give a lot of credit to Gibson City's defense. I mean, you know, the offense has done well, but the defense has been spectacular for the most part in this ball game.
Gave up a couple of touchdowns in the first quarter, but haven't allowed anything since. Here's Clifton now, getting into GCMS territory, and a flag flies at the 41.
Of course, expectations for the defense, Lee, for Gibson City, this is not unexpected, because during the year they did the same thing to their opponents, their 13 previous opponents. Most teams that played against only averaged 72 yards running the ball, 43 passing the ball. That's only 115 yards of total offense by 13 opponents.
Holding, number 7 on the offense, 10-yard penalty, results in a first down.
And with that 115 yards of total offense by their opponents, they only averaged 4 points a game. So that kind of tells you this is not a fluke, not a defensive fluke at all by Gibson City.
No, they forced 4 turnovers on the road at Newman in the quarterfinals. So they are a team that takes advantage of those things. And they're back to throw, and one Hops's intended receiver, Gavin Clifton.
Again, outstanding coverage, forces him to do that. Linebacker took the back, looking at the screen, and so you can look at a very frustrated right there, Ian Benner. And even though Coach talks about how even-keeled he is and how poised he is, underneath that helmet, he's very frustrated by the outstanding defense that the Falcons have put up against him.
Well, he's going to be back for his senior year. So is Gavin Clifton, the ball carrier here, who takes a lick and fumbles the football, and it's recovered by Ryland Holt.
He really took a lick right there to cough that ball up. Slow getting up after that hit. I don't think anything's gone this bad for Maroa. A combination of things the entire season in 13 games, all these various turnovers. Watch the hit right at the end here. Sweet, pretty good kick out block, and here comes the pop right here. Gives up the football.
Trantina, the running back, with the big pop defensively.
What does he not do? That's the 5th straight turnover by Maroa. That's excuse me, the 5th straight possession that's ended up in a turnover. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I would suspect that the coach will find it hard to believe those particular statistics when he looks at them. That his team, after 13 games and being undefeated, could have this kind of a ball game offensively.
(35-16) our score. A couple of a turnover by Benner, an interception for GCMS that was a pick 6, and then Maroa tried a little fancy, was it reverse and a
reverse
lateral
pass off of the kickoff, but field position with the kickoff was the difference. It was too far back to pull that off, and resulted in a touchdown for Gibson City without ever having to snap the ball. And when you get 2 touchdowns within 30 seconds without ever snapping the ball, I think it's your day. I think it's your day to hoist the trophy, and I think that's what's going to possibly happen here right with Gibson City. And this will be not something that they can talk about on the, what did you call it before, what type of media, that it was a fluke last year? This isn't a fluke.
Social media. Yeah.
Social media.
Yeah, and Mike Allen wanted to make sure and point out that it wasn't anybody from Maroa that said that. It wasn't the kids. It was, you know, we refer to them as trolls on the social medias.
Yes.
Yeah. Jared Trantina is our Country Financial Player of the Game. A huge game offensively. 3 touchdowns for Trantina.
Big runs when we needed them.
The All-State senior, over 1,500 yards coming into the ball game. And he missed week 3 with an ankle injury.
And Lee, you know what's going to be overlooked here is his offensive stats are outstanding, but he's played a super defensive game. He's been outstanding defensively also.
as he was a year ago.
Yes, absolutely. And you talk about a young man, you know, with the larger schools tomorrow doing a lot of platooning, and here we get the smaller schools 1A and 2A, and they might have 5, 6, or 7 players going both ways. They are so finely conditioned that it's really impressive to watch them play and play so effectively.
2nd and 1. And it's another first down for the Falcons. That first down gain there by Trantina again. Mike Allen talked about his kids this year, and he said, you know, they stayed humble after last year's win. They got back to work. They were in the weight room the next day after they won state. They've set their goals. They're still hungry, and that's the cool thing about it. They have maintained their motivation after winning a state title. No resting on their laurels at all.
Well, that's what a championship program does.
Pitch to Trantina on first down.
And there's a difference between a championship team and a championship program. Championship program is continually getting better, and the goal obviously is a state championship, and that's teams that get here continually or teams that are close, get to the quarters and the semis, and that's what Gibson City has done. And the other thing I wonder, do you think that maybe Gibson City is going to get some turf next year? And this is the only third. This is only the third game this year, their 14th game, and this is the only third time that they have played on turf. And each game has been a win and a real big one.
They're ready to play another game. They want Bama.
Watch what you wish for.
Trantina on second down. Another first down tote for him. He's been kind of limited the last couple of weeks. He had 58 yards against Eastland Pearl City, just 44 against Newman. As the GCMS crowd gives a big hand to their squad, and they're starting to feel it over there on the far side. Mike Allen, I think he's looking for subs, but it kind of looks like he's watching out for the Gatorade crew too.
Right, he could pretend he's looking for subs, but he's looking for that Gatorade bucket. You know, a statistic that really caught my eye coming in this ball game was when you talk about Gibson City's outstanding defense, was that in the 13 games coming into here, they only had 1 touchdown scored against them in the first half of the game. And that's really almost, when I look at it, I thought it was maybe a misprint. But based on how they played today, it's quite obvious that they were that good defensively. Now, the 2 people are going to get nailed right here.
Peyton Keene gets a nice greeting from his coach. And that is going to do it for GCMS. Gibson City, Melvin Sibley.
There we go.
Well, they got him a little bit. Yeah, just half of him there. You know, those coolers come in handy for brining your turkey.
I have to keep that in mind.
I've got one of those for that, too. Mike Allen and the GCMS Falcons go back-to-back in Class 2A. Yeah, they want Bama.
We got a good defense, but I don't know how good if it's that good.
They gave up 2 scores in the first quarter, and Maroa-Forsyth only had the safety after the first quarter. That's the Falcons' defense, and the effort they put forth there today for Mike Allen's team. 0-9 and 1-8 his first 2 seasons at GCMS, and now back-to-back state champions.
Very impressive. Both programs very impressive. Both teams extremely well coached today. It lived up to the expectations that we had based on last year's performance by both teams. And we got all that we expected here.
It's the 8th state trophy for the Trojans under Josh Jostis, and a back-to-back state championship for GCMS. We'll have the post-game festivities for you coming up right after this on NBC Sports Chicago. Back-to-back state champs, the GCMS Falcons. A big celebration for GCMS after a 35-16 win. Whatever it takes, that's been their motto all season long. And it came through today as they repeat as state champions, undefeated state champions, 14-0 with a 35-16 win over Maroa-Forsyth.
I can't talk about the defense. It's one of the more impressive state finals I've seen defensively by a program.
Let's go downstairs.
Guys, I'm with Jared Trantina, back-to-back state champions. How does that sound to you?
It feels amazing. All the hard work this team's put in, it's paid off.
Whatever it takes has been the slogan, a motto for you guys. What does that mean to you?
It means whatever it takes to get it done. We got two guys with broken legs, and they came out in here and they started.
That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Another thing, too, for you guys has been the travel. You guys have had to go 3 or more hours the last couple of weeks. Now you're close to home. Now you have this support from these fans out here. What kind of boost did that give you guys today?
Oh, it's amazing. The community's really had our back, and everybody's believed in us, and we came out here and we got it done.
So, Jared, what's next for you?
Hopefully some college ball, but I don't know. We'll see what I get.
We'll see what happens. But today, enjoy this one. Enjoy the moment. Jared Trantina, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'm with Coach Mike Allen right now. Coach, walk me through your emotions after getting a second straight Gatorade bath in as many years.
Cold. You know, that's good, because when that happens, that means we're on the positive side of things. So our kids played one heck of a game today. Our coaches did a great job. So what a great thing for our GCMS community.
Your guys embraced whatever it takes as a motto for this year. What did you see from that?
Just they were not willing to surrender. They worked their butts off and did a great job. Can I go get the trophy?
You absolutely can. Go do it. Thank you.
National Superintendent Jeremy Darnell. Principal Chris Gerard, Athletic Director Coach Mike Allen.
Well, since you asked so nicely, Coach, yeah, we'll go ahead and allow that.
Well, this is a perfect example of scores don't really indicate how close a ball game is and how important turnovers are, and taking advantage of where those turnovers are, and are you going to turn them into points? And that's exactly what Gibson City did. They got 28 points off turnovers. It's an amazing stat when you only have 35 points in the state championship game.
That should feel familiar. Back-to-back undefeated state championship seasons for the GCMS Falcons. Our state trophy presentation brought to you by Menards. And that is 4 straight state titles. We talked about the NUIC, the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference, winning in the 1A title game. The HOI, the Heart of Illinois Conference. Now 4 straight state championships. Tri-Valley in 2015, DMAC in 2016, and 2 in a row by the Falcons of GCMS. Whatever it takes, they took some heat last year. Some folks said maybe it was a fluke. You won a state title. No fluke here today. And our best to Josh Josnas and the Maroa-Forsyth Trojans. A heartbreaking loss. The end of a great season. They finished 13-1 and take home the second place trophy. And GCMS, your back-to-back undefeated state champs in Class 2A in convincing fashion here this afternoon, 35-16. Jack McInerney, always a pleasure. Lee Hall, so long from Champaign. More state championship football coming your way here tonight. We'll see you later.
Welcome to the IHSA Greatest Game Series. In 2010, Illini West came into Champaign undefeated, while Stillman Valley only had one tally in the loss column.